Hi everyone, in today's video I'm going to show you how to make this ghost bee costume or a booby. Okay, so I've made a little slit so you can put the wings through. So I'm going to show you how to make the pattern on the bigger one. So if you want to make the small one, you just need one thread of cotton yarn, and if you want to make the big one you use two. So all you need is some white or cream cotton yarn, a pair of scissors, a 5mm hook for the big bee, a 3mm hook if you want to make the small one, a 1.5mm hook, and some cotton thread for the eyes, or you can also use some buttons and a yarn needle. Okay, and I'll just show you these come off really easy. Okay, so again, if you want to make the small one, you need your 3mm hook and one thread of yarn. And for the larger bee, you want 2 threads of yarn and your 5mm hook. So I use the thread from the center and a thread from the outside. To start, make a slip knot. And chain 2. You can also use the magic ring method if you don't like the chain 2 method. And the first chain that you made, make 6 single crochets. Pull the tail tight. For the next row, you want to slip stitch to the first single crochet that you made. Then you want to chain 1 and turn your work. Okay, so here we have the chain 1 and the slip stitch. For the next row, we're going to go and make 2 single crochets in each stitch, which is an increase. Okay, so 1 single crochet and then 1 in the same stitch makes an increase. So you should go from 6 single crochets up to 12 by the end of this row. For the next row, you want to slip stitch to the first single crochet that you did. Chain 1 and turn your work again. And then we're going to put 1 single crochet in the first stitch and 1 increase in the second stitch, which is 2 single crochets. So 1 single crochet in the first stitch, 1 increase in the second stitch. Okay, so we're going to do that all the way back around to the stitch marker. So after you finish this row, you should have increased from 12 to 18. Okay, so you can just count and make sure you have 18. Okay, for the next row, slip stitch to the first single crochet that you made. Chain 1 and turn. For the next row, we're going to single crochet 2. So 1 in the first stitch, 1 in the second stitch, and an increase in the third stitch. Okay, so you do that all the way back to the stitch marker. 2 single crochets and an increase. So that will take you from 18 single crochets to 24. For the next row, we're going to slip stitch to the first single crochet, chain 1 and turn. We're going to do 3 single crochets, and an increase. Okay, so 3 single crochets and an increase until you get back to that stitch marker. Okay, once you've finished that row, you should have increased from 24 to 30. Slip stitch to the last single crochet that you made. Chain 1 and turn. For this row we're going to single crochet 9. And then we're going to make an increase in the next stitch. Okay, so you just do that 3 times or until you get back to the stitch marker. Single crochet 9 and an increase. Okay, so after that last row you should have increased from 30 to 33. For the next row you want to slip stitch to the next stitch, chain 1 and turn your work. And from here we're just going to single crochet around for 4 rows. So just 1 in each stitch. Okay, 1 single crochet in each stitch for 4 rows, and every time you get to the end of a row you need to continue to slip stitch to the first single crochet from that row, chain 1 and turn. Okay, and it's already started curling up from the last row. Right, so I'm going to finish my 4 rows and then I'll come back and show you how it looks after that. Okay, so here's how it looks after my 4 rows. Okay, so it should look the same on both sides. For the next row we're going to slip stitch to the first single crochet of the last row, chain 1 and turn, and we're going to put 1 single crochet in each stitch just like the previous 4 rows. But when we get to the end we're not going to join the 2 sides, so this will make the opening for the wings. Okay, so once you get here, instead of slip stitching to the first single crochet of that row, we're just going to chain 1 and then turn, and we're going to just do 6 more rows the exact same. So it's 7 rows in total. Okay, so just like the last row, don't slip stitch to the other side, just chain 1 and turn. Okay, so we've already done 2 rows, so we just need to do 5 more. So a total of 7 rows where you don't join the 2 sides together, and that will make the little slit for the wings. Okay, so I'm going to finish the rest of my rows and then I'll come back and show you how it looks. Okay, so here's how it looks after my 7 rows where I haven't attached the 2 sides. Okay, so you had 4 rows and then 7. You should still have 33 stitches around. For the next row, you want to slip stitch to the first single crochet of the last row. Okay, so now it's joined again. Chain 1 and turn, and then do 1 row of single crochet. So you should still have 33 at the end of this row as well. Okay, slip stitch to the first single crochet from that row. Okay, chain 1 and then you can cut your yarn. Okay, and you just want to pull it through. You can add an extra row if you like, if you want it a bit longer. Okay, so I just hide this tail on the inside. And then I'll show you how to make the eyes. To make the eyes, take your 1.5mm hook and your black cotton thread. Make a slip knot. Chain 2. Okay, in the first chain that you made, make 6 single crochets. Pull the tail tight. In the next row you want to increase each stitch, so 2 single crochets in each stitch. So at the end of the row you should have 12 single crochets. Okay, cut your yarn. Just needs to be long enough to stitch it on. Pull out the thread. Then you just want to skip 1 stitch, go through the next one, and then go through the back loop of the last stitch that you did. Okay, and then I tie the 2 ends together and I stitch it on the front. Okay, so you just want to see where to stitch on your eyes. So just put this on. It can be a little bit hard to get on the first few times and then it will loosen up. Okay, so you want it to be just in the front here. Remember, you can use buttons as well if you like. Okay, so here's how it looks at the end. You can stitch your eyes on higher or closer together, and you can do the mouth any way you like. I just used a separate piece of cotton thread for that one. You can also add an extra row at the bottom if you like. Okay. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.